All right, guys, here we are, Celtics live post-game show. And the Celtics lose a nail-biter. I know the NBA world's crazy with COVID and quarantining and everyone, it's like, actually not even the NBA world. NFL, everything. Like, things are getting postponed, moved around, everything like that. So neither one of these teams obviously had their full crew tonight or anything like that. But, man, that was a close game. The Celtics, honestly, coming down to the wire, looked like they had that one, and then Joel Embiid did the Celtics. Embiid did the Celtics. Celtics take the L 108-103. And like I said, it looked like the Celtics honestly had that at multiple points during that game, especially coming down to the wire, and then poof, no dubs there. But we can jump right into the box score. I see the chat filling up here. We will get to the chat tonight as well. Guys, if you're new, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Like the video, all that good stuff as well. But let's get to the box score here. Like I said, Celtics take that 5-point loss to the Sixers. Joel Embiid just came up clutch at the end. But Jaylen Brown, 30-point night from him. 30 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists from him. He was 41% from the field, 33% from three. Not overly, tremendous. Jason Tatum, 17 points, 9 boards, 6 assists. He kind of flirted with the triple-double. Not the best percentages from him tonight. I will say the shot selection to me looked a little bit better from Jason Tatum. I like the fact that he was going to the hoop. More than taking the three. A lot of times we'll see him take a bunch of threes even when he's not on. He had 0 threes tonight, but it looked like he wasn't really forcing them. Freedom, 15 points, 11 rebounds, and it sucks because I want to, and we'll talk Freedom specifically. We will, because I wanted to really love him after the game, but then he kind of, I feel like, had a couple missteps late in the game that almost erased all the good that he did. But we'll talk about him for sure, specifically in a second. And then we had Marcus Smart, 15 points, 6 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals. He filled up the stat sheet tonight. Peyton Pritchard came in, did his job as well. And Nesmith got a little bit of a run, had that great dunk. If we look at the Sixers side of things, only 3 guys really did anything. And literally, only 3 guys did anything. Embiid, 41 points, 10 boards from him, 5 assists. 4 blocks. He was everywhere. Seth with 26 and Tobias with 25. But let's get to some of the chat here, guys. Like I said, there's a few things I want to pull out of this game and talk about, because to me, it was a game where, yeah, there's positives, yeah, there's negatives. Yes, it's not a bad loss. Yes, it's still win that you'd like to have, that type of thing. So let's get to some of the chat here. Gear saying, not even surprised, such a Celtics type of loss. Yeah, honestly, when you are, and this is not meant to slight any of the other players in the game, but Joel Embiid's the best player in that game, right? Like Jason Tatum, maybe in a year, like he'll get there maybe if we really want to, have the good vibes and believe in him. Joel Embiid is the biggest superstar in that game, okay? I can say that as a Celtics fan. It came down to, obviously, these teams are both sort of shorthanded and everything like that. The top of the top came through. You know what I mean? Like Joel Embiided. That's what happened. And I'm not talking the entire game. Honestly, I think he did a decent job against him for most of the game. He had like 24 points with X amount of time left. Finished with 41. He went off to end the game. JR saying, what's good? Let's see. Gear saying Luke Cornett could have helped this team tonight. Cantor really had to play 40 minutes. Okay, let's jump into the Cantor thing, because I'm sure we're going to talk about him. And, I will say, I see some of the chat. We'll get to some of these comments. Cantor's getting like a bad rap tonight because Embiid went for 41 against him, but I'm not going to lie. I think Cantor actually played better than I would have thought. Now, pump the brakes. Don't sit there thinking, oh my God, Ev thinks Cantor played well or did a really, really good job. I'm not saying that. But if you told me that Cantor was going to have to play and lead the team in minutes tonight, 40 minutes from Cantor, and he's covering the best center in the league, I would have said he would have done a lot worse. So yeah, Embiid ends up toasting him in the end of the game. And that's when it really counts, right? Like it does. It counts at the end. Cantor played 40 minutes, say he played, it's so funny. Look at this, actually, before I even get to it. So you could tell they were swapping Cantor in for Embiid. Cantor, 40 minutes, 13 seconds. Embiid, 40 minutes, 14 seconds. So they clearly were going tit for tat there. But it doesn't, I don't want to, totally erase the good that Cantor did. I think he probably had like 5 minutes at the end where Embiid just made him his son. But for a decent amount of time there, Cantor's actually holding his own, and there's only so much you can do against him. But we could talk more Cantor, or Freedom, I should say. I probably botched it a bunch as we get into the show here. Ubi says, I never want to see another minute of Cantor on a basketball court. Well, he's Freedom now, so maybe you got your wish there, Ubi. Gear saying, refs kind of sucked, but we did to ourselves. There was some weird refs. Like, what was that Marcus Smart foul, but then a Marcus Smart technical foul? I was so confused as to how that even goes down. Like, how do you look at it after the fact and be like, oh, there's a technical on that play. We're still going to keep the foul, though. Like, I thought that if they were going to do anything, if they're going to reverse anything or change anything, I feel like that should have been a, just change it to an offensive foul. I wouldn't like that as a Celtics fan, but it was weird to me that you leave that with the same foul and just say, we're actually going to tack on a point for the Sixers here, and they do that. I mean, I guess I get why it happened and everything like that, but weird to me. I think that that was just a weirdly reffed game. Like that play at the end with Danny Green when Jason Tatum, literally tackles Danny Green and they're like, it was out of bounds. I mean, it didn't really matter at that point, right? I guess maybe it gave them a little bit of a chance, you could say, but it was just weird. Like a very, very weird officiated game. And I don't want to blame I don't think it was really the refs' fault the Celtics lose that game. I think they honestly did it to themselves, but I would be lying if I said it wasn't a weirdly officiated one. We'll be saying also, what the fuck was he thinking? Pritchard scored 10 points in a row for us, couple steals in the fourth, so let's bench him. Yeah, when you needed shots too, like clearly Philly was starting to get hot. I don't understand the move of, it's almost like Pritchard's on this short leash. He does well, we take him out. He does good, we leave him in for a little bit, but then we yank him. It's really confusing because to me, Pritchard earned his minutes tonight and come down, the stretch of that game. I think he probably should have had maybe a couple more shots. I don't want to act like Pritchard should have the ball in his hands constantly, but a couple more shots. Martez saying, fuck Cantor. Freedom, guys. Oh, yeah, don't say that. Actually, do not say fuck Freedom. Let's keep that one. If we're going to say that, you keep it to Cantor. But just let me keep going on Cantor here, or Freedom, whatever hell his name is. I still think he was in above his head. And the fact that he just played all right, in my opinion, is all right with me. But he did. You got to give him some blame for just being in the wrong place at the wrong time multiple times, everything like that. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. Like Cantor, I think it's almost like water found its level. I thought that he was playing well, doing some good things, but come down the end of the game, it was kind of like, oh man, he might have blown it there, if we're being honest. And maybe the Celtics shouldn't have been in that position. I don't know. Right? Maybe they shouldn't have been in a position where it was like, oh, well, Cantor lost to Force. Because the Celtics did have a chunk of a lead. You know what I mean? They had a decent lead. And I'm not acting like they're up 20, but they had a lead. And then they kind of, they went on an 11 to 8-1 run or something like that. Like, come on. Levi saying, even though we had a lot of players out, we should have won this game. We had this, and now we need some help for real. Yeah, and they're signing guys like Justin Jackson. They're signing guys like CJ Miles. I get that there's not many people to go around in the NBA right now that you can get, but I will say, and I don't know if I've said anything negative, like as I think about it more, like I do think that this game was really like non-COVID concerns to me, if that makes sense. I don't think this is like oh my God, they lost because they were undermanned and stuff. Like that could be a contributing factor, but I do really think that they could have won this game. Just like, what game was it to the Warriors game? Another game where it's like, oh, you had it. All the excuses in the book are ready for you. Like, they all make sense. It's fine. Like, it's fair to be like, we didn't have this, we didn't have that, all this, blah, blah, blah. Like, that is so, it's legitimate to say. Those are real excuses. They're not BS excuses we pull out of our ass. But at the same time, if you watch 48 minutes of that game, you say, I think the Celtics still could have done it. And then at that point, you forget about whatever the extracurriculars were before that, Birkin saying Jalen still looks off, inefficient, and slow will come. Yeah, I think he's looking better and better. That's the one thing I'll say. I don't think he has his burst yet, but he had that really tough finish. That tells me his confidence might be there. That he had that really tough finish on Embiid right at the end of the game there. Ubi saying Jalen's 30 means nothing. He was stat chasing the entire game, fell asleep on defense a lot. He had that one play too where, was it Thibault? I think either Thibault or Harris just went absolutely backdoor on him, and I'm sitting there going, NBA players just can't get lost in the sauce like that. Like, what was he doing? Looking at a girl in the first row, something. Like, he just was not. He was out to lunch for that play, and then it gets to a point of like, Oh, geez, like that's supposed to be a guy that's not a young Jaylen Brown or anything anymore. Like, we're looking at this guy trying to hope that he's the future of this team and that type of thing happens. Birkin saying Cantor is useless. Martin says, my only problem with Cantor is he can't defend anything. Yeah, and guys, trust me, it sounds like I'm defending Cantor or Freedom. I'm only defending him because I don't think it was as bad as everyone in the chat's making it seem. Like, he doesn't play defense. He can't stop Embiid. I'm just saying it's a tall, that's a tough task to be given. And I give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt because he was the only center that they could run today. And he played 40 minutes and, -3 plus minus, and he was covering Embiid constantly. Like, he played probably of that 40 minutes, I would say 30 minutes of basketball against Embiid, which I would take any day of the week, okay? But the 10 minutes at the end, or, maybe through a few minutes in there and everything like that, it was like, it kind of pissed on everything that he was doing so well beforehand. So, yeah, I hear you on the screw Cantor, screw Freedom, and all this stuff. But I do think that, to some degree, like, the Celtics still had this game. If the Celtics win this game, I genuinely believe we might be looking at him saying, you know what, he grinded today, that type of thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that this loss is fully on him. Embiid has given us plenty of points before when Freedom or Cantor wasn't even the guy that was dealt to task him. Like, again, I'm not defending to Enes Freedom. I'm just saying I don't think it's as shitty as people might be making it. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want it to get caught up being like, oh, are you kidding me? I loved how he played. I think he defended him and played really well. No. He didn't. But it's still Joel Embiid versus Enes Freedom. We got to, table our expectations to some degree. Kellen saying, I'm so done with Smart, man. He makes such dumb plays every game. He had a few plays where he stuck his nose in there and he had a couple really, really good plays today, but I hate to say it, I think that those really flashy defensive plays did overshadow some fairly negative plays that Mart had. Like, he comes out of the game with 3 turnovers, had the worst plus minus on the team. Like, I don't want to say this is a Marcus Smart bad game. He shot 6 of 10 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3. Like, I don't hate all that. But there was a couple plays where Marcus Smart had the ball and he tries to do something. I'm like, ugh. Or he tries to flop for a foul, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, and I'm not talking about that, whatever that was where they call the technical on him. I don't know what's going on there. But, yeah, I think that this is a sneaky sort of Smart. The stat sheet might look like he, played well and divvied the rock and everything like that. He didn't really come to totally play either. Ubi says, if we trade Schroeder, it has to be for a backup big because Cantor as our center will be going 0-82. And that's the thing. Like, that I can agree with. Like, Cantor isn't your starting center. So hopefully you guys realize I'm not defending Cantor when I'm talking about him today. I'm just saying Joel Embiid assignment's impossible. And the fact that he could even have 40 minutes against him is somewhat, I don't know, like, tip my cap to you for doing a bad job. I don't know. Marta saying, miss Robin Horford 100%. I know I'm behind the chat, guys. If you do want to skip the chat and support the show, make sure to drop a super chat as well. You'll get your shout out. You can shout out anything you're doing. Just support the show. Ubi saying Cantor. I love that we're just calling him Cantor too. And now I'm calling him Cantor. Ubi says, I'll autocorrect this for you, Ubi. Freedom was sitting in the paint while the Sixers were doing pick and roll at the top of the 3-point. I'm not 7 foot tall, but I think I've done a better job than him defensively. Let's see. Alane, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Freedom sucks. Ubi saying Freedom needs to be free from the Celtics. Gear says Matisse is such a good defender, but that guy fouls so much. Yeah, he's an aggressive defender. That's how I'd put it. I'd still think I'd like him on the Celtics, though. Steven J saying drinking the vodka straight. Yeah, after Sixers loss, that's what we're doing here. Monday night, just drinking the vodka straight. You got to do what you got to do. And I'm doing it with such a straight face, too. Anthony says, seemed like you just had 2 depleted teams and the best player made the best plays to win the game. Not like you can get in credit, madam. Honestly, I don't know if you heard at the top of the show, Anthony, but that is almost like you just said it better than I tried to say it. I said that these are 2 banged up teams and the top end talent kind of, through and through became the guys that were going to win this game. So I completely agree with that. Realistically, these teams were thin, meaning if you had your better players, which they did. I mean, they had Harris, they had Embiid, they had Seth. I know Maxi's been playing well for them. He wasn't there. But, if it's a matter of Tatum, Brown, and Smart versus Embiid, Harris, and Seth, and they're all going to go off. Again, 25 from Harris, 26 from Seth, and then Embiid goes for 41. Like, that's just the top end of their team outplayed the top end of your team by far. So I'm not mad about this one. But it's the same vibe as, like I said, when we had the Warriors game. It's like, well, I will still say the game was in your hands. You could have won. Like, it's still frustrating because you could have won the game. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like people in the comments or in the chat get mad when I say that. Like, oh, you can't get mad about this one. It's like, I'm not mad, but frustrated, thinking that you could have gotten it, all that type of thing. That's fair. Like, we could have won this game. Pierce's coaching is still the issue. Yeah, I mean, I gotta see something out of Udoka promising soon. Like, the rotations or subs, like, it gets a little weird for me. I'm not saying that he's been terrible. I think that he's just been lackluster. Is that fair? Like, is that a better way of putting it? I'm not really trying to rag on him and say, you know what? Feed him to the wolves. He's not going to be an NBA coach and blah, blah, blah. But what I will say is, like, all this stuff that we got told in the offseason that he wants to go to war every night, or he's going to be in a ref's ear yelling at them, he's going to inspire these players. I just see a guy that kind of looks a little like mopey on the sideline. Difference between him and Brad Stevens emotionally is that Brad Stevens would sit with his arms crossed, and at least Udoka is kind of like standing there like a caveman, just looking around, like looking confused at times. Like, I don't see the spark that we were supposed to see. Now, I'm not ready to be like, it's never going to come. I mean, yes, it's getting a little bit later in the season than early in the year, but maybe that's still coming down the pipe. Like, I don't know, but I'm still waiting to be, this is how I'll put it. I'm still waiting to be like totally convinced by him that he's like the future coach, right? Like, right now, look at this team. They're near 500 type team. I don't know if that would be sort of any, like, can't anyone probably coach a team to near 500? That's kind of the point I make. So we'll see. Maybe he gets better. Hopefully he does. Let's see. XV3 saying, do you think that the Celtics are sellers in the offseason? I don't know what they sell. Like, they don't have these guys that teams are going to want to really try and come get or anything like that, right? Like, who wants some of the guys in the Celtics other than Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown? Now, if you're talking sellers and you get to that point, like, oh, they're going to be selling one of the two Jays, I don't know. I don't think after just these, 30, whatever it is, games, I don't think that I'm ready for that conversation yet. But I don't know. Like, if you're a seller, I think of it like like you're ready to rebuild. You know what I mean? You're selling at a discount. And I don't know if the Celtics are there yet, but I don't know. Let's see. Ubi saying the Celtics should look to keep Josh Richardson. I like his fit with JB and JT. Hey, what did I tell you guys? I mean, I know I'm saying that he didn't play this game, but I know I'm coming off a pretty hot game with him where he scored, 27 against the Knicks? I said that Josh Richardson, the longer he's on this team, the better he will become, and he's starting to play better and better. Now, I'm not going to say he's going to drop 27 every single night, but Josh Richardson's good. Josh Richardson is good. He defends, he can score, he can handle the ball. Like, he's good. Once he's able to, get back and be healthy now, like, that's just another guy that in a game like tonight, he can compete points-wise, but also play some defense too. Now, he can't cover Embiid. He's not going to be able to cover Embiid. I'm not saying that, but give me some more points. Boom. Peter saying Freedom doesn't play defense. Robert saying JB, JR, and JT. That's got a ring to it. Bradley saying Romeo getting his cardio in tonight and scoring nothing certainly didn't help. Yeah, Romeo Langford, 25 minutes played, no points from him. And that's what, I don't know, maybe I missed something. Maybe Nesmith wasn't looking great, like, if you were to focus on him, but to me, it's like Nesmith has, a couple baskets, he has the dunk, and then, he just doesn't play. Like, I don't understand why Udoka ices guys. Like, and he's done it with Pritchard this year, before he even plays and that type of thing. I want to know, what goes through his rotational mind. Because again, I don't think that Nesmith or Pritchard's now starting to. So let me preface this saying I'm kind of talking like it was a couple weeks ago, right? Neither one of these guys had shown much to earn minutes. But I don't think that, like, you base playing second-year guys or even young guys in general off of what have you seen. Like, you play them based on what can you show me, that type of thing, right? So why is he playing Nesmith 11 minutes and saying, nah, you're not playing for the rest of the game? And then he plays Langford, 15 minutes more than that. Ray saying Freedom sucks, couldn't guard one-legged baby squirrel. Ray saying, couldn't Bruno guard Embiid? I mean, he could try. He could try. I mean, if Embiid, like I said, Embiid didn't cover, Freedom didn't cover Embiid, but at least he stuck with him and made it a little bit harder for him. I don't know if that's even fair, but yeah, I mean, I think that you might as well throw everything at Embiid. You know, if it doesn't work, then scratch it, but you might as well keep trying. Guys, make sure to like the stream if you have not yet. We got way more people watching the stream right now than have liked the stream, and I guess if you haven't liked the stream yet, you are, in fact, a Sixers fan, and unless you like it, there's nothing you could do to convince me otherwise, so make sure to like that stream, and if you do want to support the show, drop a super chat. Any amount is so appreciated. Helps us out a lot. Pierce says, would have made Joel work harder on offense. Yeah, I mean, they took it to him a couple times, Pierce. They did, but you're right. Like, you got to tire and beat out. You really got to tire and beat out, I think. Like, that's how you beat him, and it's getting harder and harder. Like, he is just getting better and better. And if that guy's, like, last year, if he stays healthy, he's making an MVP case. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, you got to make him work harder on, or you said on offense, actually. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. And Cantor or Freedom standing there with his arms down, letting Embiid pull those mid-range jumpers over and over again, that wasn't it. But I still think you could try and make him tire him out on the defensive end. Ray says, and as to the unemployment line, Evan saying, I'd go after Ayton in the offseason. I would love DeAndre Ayton. I'd love him here. I don't know how that could work out money-wise or anything like that, but man, you wouldn't catch me saying no to DeAndre Ayton. I know that he's had his money issues, I guess, with Phoenix and his re-signing their issues type of thing, but I would take him in an absolute heartbeat for sure. Ubi saying we needed Al tonight. John saying Smart is garbage. JR would have hit him harder a few years ago. Useless. Kellen saying all of us knew we were shorthanded on Biggs night, and this was getting cooked all game, and I wish Udoka threw Fernando at Embiid and see what could have happened. Maybe we could have changed the game. It's true. I mean, maybe you do give him a shot. You do. Ubi saying hashtag Coach Ev 2020. Ev for coach in 2022. I'll take it. I mean, hey. I could get this team to be a 500 ball club, I think. I don't know. Colin saying, only bright spot tonight for me is Pritchard. He needs to be in the rotation. If I'm Brad, I'm all in on trading Schroeder in a first of the Hawks for Reddish. Give Schroeder minutes to Pritchard. Yeah, and trading Schroeder, again, I don't think anyone's getting much return for Schroeder or giving anything to us for Schroeder because of the contract situation. But throw him with a first-round pick, getting a potential score off the bench or something like Reddish, I don't hate that idea. I think Pritchard does. I'll focus on the larger point there from you, Colin, is that I do think that Pritchard has earned his minutes now. Like, you can't watch tonight. You can't watch the Knicks. And was there one game, maybe the Trailblazers game? Am I making that up? Like another recent game that he had played pretty well. Like you can't watch him and say, nah, he's not ready. He's not doing this. Why? Well, because he's done it recently. And also, yeah, he did it last year and showed that he could be an NBA player. And some of these plays where, he works, he's so good at working a screen into a three for his jumper and that type of thing. Like, I'm really impressed with how he does that. And I think he's the type of player that if you play more and more, he's going to get better and better very quickly. Because he's got that fundamental. He's clearly got the grind, everything like that. Like, I think that they should 1,000,000% work him into the rotation. It is tough with Smart and Schroeder. Like, I totally get that. But I don't see the reason why you don't go to Pritchard in times of when you need shooters out there. You don't have a shooter on this team. You have a Schroeder on this team, but not a shooter on this team. See what I did there? So you got to get Pritchard out there. I think he's earned minutes for sure. Ubi says we need one guy that just doesn't miss wide open shots. One guy. Yeah, and maybe that is Pritchard. Put that right in there. Let's see. 21 saying Sixers messed up my parlay. 5 of 6, 300 to win 500. Or 30 to win 500. Yikes. Damn. Anthony saying we made Embiid shoot 2 fadeaway shots from the corner at the end. I'd rather have that than let him get to the post. He just made honestly incredible shots. Yeah, at the end of the game, but like even still, and again, I'm defending Freedom this game a little bit more than clearly the chat is. But what I will say is that Embiid just made like a couple pull up over and over again, like jumpers in the clutch time. Like he just made shots. You know, like I know that Cantor didn't put his hand up on that last fadeaway, but I mean, regardless, even if he's wide open, you made him force a long 2-corner fadeaway to put the game away. You doubled, like I guess the hand wasn't in the face, but would the hand made that much? Like to me, that's just a big time player making a big time play. So I don't know. Like, I don't blame Freedom for like that play. The only ones that I would say that I think a lot of you guys in the chat that have been ragging all over him tonight have some credence saying is like those like first quarter, middle of the game when Freedom just like this, and then and as just or Embiid just dribbling in front of him and goes okay, and just pops it right in his face. It's like at least make him think you're gonna contest it. You know what I'm saying? I'll give every first round, this from Ubi, first round pick in Celtics history for the foreseeable future. Wait, in history for the foreseeable future? What? For someone to take and beat off our Cantor off our hands. Well, I mean, take Freedom off our hands. Ubi's sticking. You are sticking to the Cantor train. Also, why didn't Tatum shoot in the clutch time? He kept passing, which is great to see, but Tatum, you are that guy. Yeah, like, and Brown took he hit a three, or no, yeah, that was after the Tatum passes to Brown, and Brown took like a pull-up that didn't go, but the play before he had a nice little layup right in Embiid's chops. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like, Tatum wasn't having the best shooting night, so he deferred, but at the same time, I think that's an example of how, you know, we will rag on Tatum for whatever, right? Like, oh, what are you doing with that shot, blah, blah. But it's like, well, at the end of the day, I still think I look at this team and say, I'd rather your, like, shot than a good shot from, like, Marcus Smart or someone else. You know what I mean? So, like, I like I like that, like, just like you, I like that he is deferring, but maybe not in the crunch time. Like, when Embiid is going off, that's when I want Tatum to have the I can compete with you mentality. Oh, that's cute that you did that, Joel. I'm going to go score now, too. But he didn't do it. King saying Celtics choked hard. Yeah, and that's the thing. Yes, they were a depleted team. Yes, they did not have their full roster and whatnot. But it still gets a little bit frustrating to me because the game was in your hand. Steven saying, late to the stream, can Brad please come back? Yeah, a lot, like, again, Udoka needs to show me something if I'm going to back him. You know what I mean? Like, I just haven't seen the oomph out of him whatsoever. Like, I haven't seen really that sort of, oh, no, this guy is the coach of the future. Like, so far, and again, this could be a clip where I'm so wrong in a few weeks or a month, right? But it's like, so far, he just looks like a bridge coach. Like, this guy doesn't look like you found your next long-term coach. He's not doing anything different. Coach Ev, 2022. Oppo's saying, Cantor was good, but Freedom is meh. Steven saying, I promise you, Brad is not letting Cantor play 40 minutes and guard Embiid one-on-one most of the game, I promise you. What if he doesn't have any other centers? Like, that is the case. Like, I get it. Like, it was a move that kind of backfired, but I don't know. There's not many options tonight. Rob saying, bring back Brad and IT. I would take IT. If you're going to be a 500 ball club, give me back IT. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to be a 500 ball club, bring back IT. At least let me get some, like, emotional, you know, theatrical and whatnot, experiences out of this. Like, bring back Isaiah Thomas if you're going to have that type of team. Like, if you're not going, like, they haven't, which is crazy because, yes, you know, screw Kyrie and whatever. People probably do that trade over and over again. But, like, the Celtics have not gotten any further. Like, they haven't made the finals since, you know what I mean? Like, they haven't gotten any better since then. So might as well have a team that's fun. And this team, I'm not saying they're not fun. Like, I think this team's probably slightly more fun than last year. But am I just thinking recency bias? Like, by the end of last year, I was ready to blow my brains out about this team. Like, maybe this team gets there if they're going to be as frustrating. I don't know. But, yeah, it's like, and again, if you were to tell me before the game that the Celtics played well, and the Sixers, you know, Joel Embiid goes for 41 and all that, and the Celtics lose by 5 with no one playing, all these injuries, I'd say, you know what? Yeah. Like, I do think that's fair, right? Like, I don't care. Like, it's what happened within the game that's the only frustrating part. I'm not mad about the actual loss, the final score, the fact that Embiid went for 41. I get a little frustrated with you could have won it. Like, you could have won the game. Again, if you just tell me 108 to 103, shout out to Ninja there for subscribing. 108 to 103 is the final score, and Embiid goes for 41. I'm going to say, okay, that all computes. It's not that big of a deal. I'm not bummed that the Celtics lost, but I watched all of that game and say there's multiple times in there where the Celtics just could have won this game. So it's the content, it's not really the context, I guess. 108 to 103, shout out to Ninja there for subscribing. 108 to 103 is the final score, and Embiid goes for 41. I'm going to say, okay, that all computes. It's not that big of a deal. I don't I'm not bummed that the Celtics lost, but I watched all of that game and say there's multiple times in there where the Celtics just could have won this game. So it's the content, it's not really the context, I guess. Levi saying he needs to prove us wrong, but game after game's proven us right. At least chew out the team or at least show emotion. That's the thing. I want the emotion. Like, I don't need to chew out the team. I hear what you're saying because that's kind of like the fire, right? So I give you that. But what I just want is the emotion. Like, my biggest, I never ragged on Brad Stevens for X's and O's. He could drop a play like no other. I got mad at Brad Stevens because when they were down by 20 points or losing or blowing a lead or anything like that, he'd go like this. And that's so frustrating. Now we get Udoka in the offseason, and I'm like, oh, okay, he quote-unquote like wants to go to war with this team, whatever the hell he said, right? But what does he do now? He doesn't go. He just goes. Like, genuinely, he looks confused sometimes, which isn't a great look, but we'll see. I'm still giving him some time, I guess. Like, it is still his first year as a coach. Kellen saying Neesmith should get Romeo's minutes. I'm officially off the Romeo train. Dude's body language is terrible and injury prone. Praying for more Rich Pritchard and Neesmith. Yeah, I think they have more upside. Steven saying that does not matter. Bruno's on the bench. Tatum 6'10". You can double off a Tybal. I'll give you quarters 1 through 3 in the fourth. There's no way you let Embiid do that. Yeah, and so Steven, we're on the same page here. I said earlier, I said that, you know, probably out of 40 minutes that Cantor played, serviceable at the very most was 30 of those minutes. Last 10 was kind of like he just got torched, right? Like, but he really, like, I don't want Tatum over there trying to stop Embiid or for, like, the Celtics were doomed if they did, doomed if they didn't there. My only thing is that I think this is obviously exemplifies that your backup / third string big is not the best for, you know, full play. Like, I think Freedom can still be a tool in the bag when you need offensive rebounds, whatever. But I just think that it's like this loss is, you know, Joel Embiid could drop 41 on a lot of guys in the league. I don't know if it's like, oh, Freedom blew this one. I think the Celtics as a whole kind of choked it away. Ubi's asking why we signed CJ Miles because we have 0 players. All right, a few more comments, guys, and we're going to jump off. Anthony saying, I feel like they're stuck in mediocrity because we don't know, we don't have enough cap to get someone big, and we're not good enough to beat a good team with the players we have, so it's just frustrating. And I don't think we have necessarily the trade pieces, unless they could pull something off like crazy. Steven says, I don't care about the fire anymore. I want a coach that actually coaches again. This team has talent that Brad didn't have last year. It's ridiculous. Yeah, okay, so that, I mean, I just want the coach to be engaged. Maybe that's a better word. If you're engaged, I feel like you have the sort of the tempo of the game, and you can call plays and know who to go to or know who to do the rotation, right? I don't just want a hothead, you know, Bobby Knight type coach. That's not what I'm asking for. I just want a guy that's into the game. Sports guys saying blow the team up, get a point guard that can score. I don't know. I mean, they're trying to not make the playoffs. I'll give you that. But if they don't make the playoffs, that is going to be bad because that is a few years now that they just slid. And Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown aren't going to be happy with that. But anyways, guys, I think we are going to close down shop for the night. That's where we're going to do it for comments. Tough game. Again, like, I'm not pissed about this loss. It's just frustrating to have a potential win in your hand and then go this and let it slip away, regardless of if, you know, you had 2 guys playing tonight or all, you know, 15 guys help, like whatever it is. If you have a chance to win, I wish they were to capitalize on that. So that's my sort of vibe on it. But we shall see. Obviously, you know, Embiid is the best player in that game. He's going to do Embiid things, but you'd still like to see them pull out a dub. So we got this Cavs on Wednesday here. Hopefully we're looking at a dub there. There's not going to be a stream on Christmas Day. Hopefully you guys understand that. But hopefully we get a win there too. A couple big games coming up. So hopefully we get it back on the win train because I'm not loving what I'm seeing out of the Celtics right now. They are in a play-in position, 15-16 right now. So that ain't it. So I will catch you guys in the next stream. Peace out.